Good day, everyone. Market conditions are under great strain as consumer demand for diamonds remains extremely weak, especially here in the States. Now, India is celebrating its festive season and consumers there are buying gold and diamond jewelry, but most reports show buying is lower than Diwali season 2007. As for India's manufacturing facilities, many have extended their holiday closures longer than usual due to very weak global demand for polished goods. The DMIA held an open meeting for the trade on Monday afternoon to discuss specifically the Uniform Commercial Code, or UCC financial statement form. It is a security agreement for a loan transaction that gives the secured party an interest in property owned by the debtor as collateral for a loan, or in our case, diamonds. Let's watch attorney and Professor Neil Cohen discuss the benefits of using this form.
The memo says that it's a sale or return transaction.
Yeah, that's the one that was written by a lawyer who hasn't been around since 2001. That one's even scarier than the rest because it's hardest to protect against creditors. The whole thing is that the law says you can't change what's really going on by what words you use in the piece of paper. If we all know what the deal is, the law's going to figure it out also, and you got to do what the law says for the economics of the transaction, not for the words. You have sold the diamond to Black Diamond. Black Diamond is paying later, and to protect you against the possibility that Black Diamond won't pay, you have this property interest in the diamond, but the law says it doesn't make any difference what you call it, it's a security interest. There's two sets of requirements that go with a security interest. The first is, as between the two parties, as between Precious, who's sending it out, and Black Diamond, who's getting it, what the law says is that this security interest isn't enforceable unless there's some sort of a writing. And by writing here, I'm including not only pieces of paper, but their electronic equivalent. Well, there is a writing, you said.
There's just consignment form.
Yeah, there's only one trouble with it is, and that is the writing has to be signed, and not by your client, not by Precious. It has to be signed by the party that is, to use the language of the law, granting the security interest, the debtor. And in this case, that's Black Diamond, the recipient. And if you don't have something signed, and that includes electronically, which can be pretty simple, an email or the like, if you don't have something signed by Black Diamond, then your security interest isn't even enforceable against Black Diamond. Even though it may really be a consignment, the Uniform Commercial Code, that statute I was telling you about, says, you know, from the outside, nobody can tell the difference. People who are dealing with Black Diamond can't tell the difference between ownership, security interests, and consignments. And so what the law says is that for the consignor to protect itself, it has to act just as though it had taken a security interest. Not only do you need the writing between the parties, but you're going to need to file that financing statement or lose to all sorts of third parties out there.
The filing of a UCC financial statement becomes matter of public record. It is active for 5 years, but can be continued by refiling. These are filed with debtor's home state. The best way to begin the process is by going online, searching UCC form and your state. DMI stated that they will produce the full event on a DVD, and you may contact them for more information. Our Avi Krawitz joins us now after speaking with Ian Smillie of Partnership Africa Canada on the group's recent report showing a multitude of issues with Kimberley Process enforcement.
NGOs stepped up their monitoring of the diamond industry ahead of the annual Kimberley Process plenary taking place in New Delhi next week. They stressed their concern for the effects that escalating violence in the Democratic Republic of the Congo may have on the trade and the non-compliance of Venezuela to the scheme. We spoke with Ian Smillie of Partnership Africa Canada, which this past week published its research profiling 13 countries that were vulnerable to illicit diamond trade.
The biggest and most immediate concern is Venezuela, which basically has been in a state of non-compliance in the Kimberley process for 4 years. All of the diamonds that are mined in Venezuela have vanished into thin air every year since 2005, and the Kimberley process has not been able to deal with this in a forthright manner. We really haven't taken a lot of other issues very seriously. This is a big one. But if you think about the countries that suffered from conflict diamonds, Angola, Democratic Republic of Congo, Sierra Leone, in the past 4 years, there's only been one review go to each of those countries. And the recommendations that have been made have simply not been followed up, not by the Kimberley process or by the countries in question. This really isn't good enough, and this escalating violence in the Congo is a good example of how things could get badly out of control if we don't start paying attention. All of these diamonds that are smuggled from one country to another wind up somewhere, and the consuming countries must be receiving diamonds, or it's happening in cutting and polishing centers. One of the things that we're arguing is that they should be included as part of the normal government and Kimberley process oversight. We have a spot on the agenda on the opening day, and we're certainly going to raise these issues. Venezuela must be dealt with. If we cannot resolve the Venezuelan issue at this Kimberley process, we might as well wrap the whole thing up and go home.
Partnership Africa-Canada and Global Witness warned of a growing complacency and less effective monitoring by the Kimberley process to curtail illicit activity within the rough diamond trade. They want more frequent review visits and better follow-up by both local governments and the Kimberley process itself. From an NGO perspective at least, the Kimberley process has a lot of work ahead in the next year. From the Bourse in Ramat Gan, back to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Avi. In precious metals news, gold is up 6% to $757.70 an ounce. Platinum is up more than 1% to $809 an ounce. And silver is up 4% to $9.48 an ounce. For all the latest news, please visit diamonds.net.